What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Hal. Today we'll be going over the Star Ocean banner. Okay, so if you do not know, they're going to get 7 stars, not right away, but they have been promised to get 7 stars in the future. My best guess as to when these 7 stars will be released will be when the Final Fantasy Brave Exvius characters will be available in the Star Ocean Animesius mobile game. That's not coming out anytime soon. The game is out, but the collaboration with FFBE inside that game will probably be, I don't know, in a distant enough away of time, because those units are pretty strong. Rain, Lastwell, and Fina are pretty strong units inside the Star Ocean game. So when that comes out in the Star Ocean game, I would expect us to get another rerun of the Star Ocean collab inside Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. And so these units, I'm very happy to see that they are going to have some sort of life expectancy, because they were not originally going to have 7 stars at all. It hurt the banner a bunch. Now they got some global exclusive buffs, so let's go into it here for you guys before you get too bored with me blabbering about how happy I am that these units will be able to be useful for you guys who do enjoy Star Ocean in the future. So this is Radek. He's a 3-star base, 5-star max. Not one of the useful units. His TMR here though, Millie's Charm, we went over it earlier, very strong. Gives some fire, water, wind, earth, light, and dark resistance plus 10%, as well as HP and MP plus 10%, and defense and spirit plus 8 raw. On an accessory, very strong. It's a 3-star base. If you're pulling from some of the units, you'll be able to get this TMR because it is a raid, remember, so you can get raid moogles for this. Now, outside of his TMR there, he's a 3-star base, 5-star max damage dealer. So you can see that nothing's really standing out here. So there's really no reason to go over him. I'm sorry for you Star Ocean 1 fans. Radek, you know, he just came out in Star Ocean Animesius, so maybe that's where you want to be playing with him. All right, so the next one we're going to go over is Fidel. He's a 4-star base, 6-star max. All right, his Trust Mastery is Fortitude and Vigor, increases your attack by 40%, and auto buffs your defense by 20%. Auto buff your defense means that at the start of the fight, you're going to get a 20% defense buff. And there's a buff, so it's not going to stack with any other buffs that you have access to. Bard buffs, self buffs, anything won't stack with it. So it's pretty much written off quite easily there. But the attack plus 40%, awesome. Awesome. You'll be able to get that TMR from the raid moogles as well. Don't go all in for Fidel plus 40% attack materia if you do have some Orochis from the Dragon Quest, a banner from back in the day, because Orochi's got a 40% attack materia as well, and he will also be on the Dragon Quest raid for raid moogles, so you can get 40% attack TMRs from that one as well. Now we also have access to some of his stats here. His weapon selection is kind of cool, but he's a 4-star base, 6-star max damage dealer. He did get a buff to air raid. This makes him actually a pretty damn strong 4-star base damage dealer. Probably one of the strongest ones in the game, because there's a physical damage 3.5 times multiplier with ignore 50% defense. So it's a 7 times multiplier. The only problem with this is that the only chaining partner he has is Fate, and Fate's major problem with air raid, it being one of his strongest skills, is his only real chaining partner is other Fates or Fidel here. So outside of that, you know, his other stuff's pretty relatively tame. He's got an attack and defense break, some lower multipliers here, but really he's all about air raid. If you want to use him for 10-mans, go for it. If you're a Fate fan, you can go ahead and do that. He's got leader by proxy, some attack buffs and stuff like that. And his LB here, Ethereal Blast, 5.5 times multiplier with ignore 50% defense, so 11.0 multiplier, 12 hit skill there. So speaking of Fate, here he is, the man himself. He's got a couple decent global exclusive buffs. We'll have to see where his 7-star takes him in the future, but we can go over his kit here for you guys and probably guess what they're going to do with him when it comes to 7-star Fate. Now his TMR here is the Farwell. It's 135 attack, light elemental sword, very strong sword. The problem with swords being is that it's much more easier to get weapon masteries for some of the other more common weapon types like great swords, katanas. As far as not TMRs, but like materia go for swords, right now I think there's like Dark Knight Soul, which requires you to wear a sword in heavy armor, and then there's Emperor Shera's TMR, which requires you to wear a sword in light armor. So you can't actually wear either of those, and both of them are unstackable with themselves. So that's kind of a thing. And then a lot of the other characters that use other weapon types like great swords, katanas, they actually have passive weapon masteries for great swords, katanas. I think there's a few units out there who do have weapon masteries for swords. Fate is going to be one of them. I think Onion Knight has a sword passive, and then like Reagan as well has a sword passive. So there is some uses for it. Also keep in mind that we have access to the Lightbringer if you're around for the Rayjack event, which has like 90 something attack. It's also a light elemental sword. And then down the line there will be a 10-man trial where I think we'll also get another sword called the Lightbringer, and it's like a really high attack light elemental sword as well. So Farwell might not be the top of your priorities even if you do go for Fate, just because there's a lot of other things that you can use besides this sword. Now, Fate, his stats. Most important one is his attack stat, 159 base attack. After pots, it's going to be 189, one less than 190. That's still more than enough to do all of the damage you want to do. He's going to have more than 4,000 HP. After pots, his attack frame, 5 hits. Pretty cool there. No base elemental resistances or weaknesses. His weapon selection is amazing, in my opinion. He's got swords, daggers, great swords, katanas, and flails. So all the important ones, swords, great swords, katanas, right? The 3 best ones, in my opinion. I'll tell you that every single time, unless you're trying to use fixed dice, and then you got throwing weapons in there too. But we won't talk about that. No helms, but he's got hats, clothing, and light armor. So no helms, no heavy armor. All right. He's got 4 materia slots like everyone. Now he's got Blade of Fury here. All right, this is one of his skills. It said it got changed, but I don't really see much of a change here. Physical damage 4.0 multiplier. I think, oh, you know what the change is, guys? It started out at 1.6 times multiplier before, I think. Something like that. I think you do a little more damage at the start now. So it's a physical damage 4.0 multiplier with consecutive damage increase. You can get this consecutive damage increase up to 24 times at 0.5 each time. And it maxes out at 16 times multiplier on one skill. And if you're dual wielding, yeah, you'll use the skill 2 times, so it'll take you around 12 turns to cap this out. Very strong skill, 16 times multiplier per hit. Think of it as like a Grimlord Sakura, fires from below on Emperor sort of unit here. You can dual wield it, you will attack 2 times with it. The main problem is that it's a 5-hit skill, so it doesn't really chain very well. No one else chains with Blade of Fury outside of another Fate. But there's pretty cool stuff you can do with it. If you make him a double hand unit, it'll take you 24 turns to max this out. But after that, you'll be able to chain finish pretty well because it's only 5 hits. So you can weave it into a chain ongoing and finish with some Blade of Furies. It's non-elemental, but that's more than fine because you can see down here, we have Blazing Sword, Icicle Blade, Lightning Blade, and Divine Blade. He's got Fire, Ice, Lightning, and Light imbues. Okay, they last for 12 turns each and also fill your LB gauge by 10 to 14 turns. This makes him very versatile, CG Jake style, as to how you want to attack your enemy and what element you want to attack them with. He's got Abyssal Gate, which is some AoE. It's actually a really strong 4.0 multiplier AoE right there. 2.4 and a 1.6 in the same skill. He's got Sidekick to restore 24 MP to himself. That's pretty cool there. Not really that useful though. And then just like Fidel, he's got Air Raid buffed up, 7 times multiplier, 9-hit skill. The main drawback being that you can only chain with another Fate, and I do believe that the chaining animation skill frames for it are pretty wonky. I think it like breaks or something. It's pretty slow. It's like a 40 frame into like a 30 frame basically. And anytime you see a skill that has more than a 20 frame in the frame data, you're gonna break the chain if you're trying to spark chain it. So you can't really spark chain it. You should be able to chain it though, although I could be wrong. I don't know how dual wield's gonna work with chaining double air raids. It's kind of wonky as far as I know. Now his passive here, he's got Stubborn to a Fault. Just some stuff that he gets, passive buffs when his HP gets low, 6% and 120%. So if you drop below 6% HP, you get a 60% buff. If you drop below 30% HP, you get a 120% buff. Nothing insane there. We've got Condition Cure as well. Blind, Poison, Sleep, Paralyze, Silence, and Confusion Resistance. Super awesome. Right there. Then he's got Convert Damage, chance to counter physical attacks with Convert Damage. Star Athlete, increase attack and defense by 30% and 20% HP. And then Self-Taught Swordsmanship is the 50% attack passive for being equipped with the sword. His limit burst here is the Ethereal Blast of Time, aka who the hell am I? Alright, I did play SO3. Physical damage 5.8 multiplier with a north 50% defense. So this is going to be an 11.6 times multiplier. Pretty decent there. And decrease all elemental resistances by 60% for 3 turns. Super awesome there. In the future, I could imagine them basing him more around his LB, because right now, if you're trying to dual wield him, and this is where his main thing is, you want to dual wield him to stack Blades of Fury really fast, to do a bunch of damage with Blades of Fury. But Blades of Fury doesn't chain very well. That's a downside. He's got these awesome imbues. They last 12 turns. And they also help you fire off your LB, but if you're dual wielding for this skill, you're also not chaining for the skill. And if you're dual wielding, you're not you're not getting the full effect of dual on your LB. So he's really set up real nicely for a double hand / true double hand unit in the future. Right? They buff this LB damage up on a 7-star real high. All of a sudden, and they give him W cast. All of a sudden, he can stack this up dual handing just as fast as you can with dual wielding. His LB does a bunch of damage, and he's got all these imbues. He'd be a perfect double hand unit. They just don't have any of the double hand passes on him. He doesn't have dual cast. So, Gumi, if you're lost for ideas on how to make Fate a good 7-star unit, just make him double hand. He's already set up for it. He's set up for double hand already. He doesn't have the double hand skill. So right now he's kind of awkward to use because you want to dual wield him. He can't chain very well, and if you're dual wielding him, his LB does a lot of damage, but it doesn't really work well with dual wield. So that being said, we do have one other unit on the banner. She went from being still really good when we did our news thing. I was like, she's still really good. Now she's pretty damn insane. She does have one major drawback. She does not have access to re-raise, but she brings a couple of utility things that no other unit in the game that is a sort of unit like she is can actually bring to the table. So she's got the Trustmaster here, the Knuckles of Hope, 20 attack, 110 spirit. The old one was 70 and 70, as well as auto refresh and 30% MP bonus. Very nice TMR there for a lot of different knuckle wearers that want spirit. You can use this on Leela a little bit. You also kind of will want it for herself because she has an insane knuckle mastery passive. We'll see down below. Her stats, traditional white mage stats, nothing to see there really. Her weapon selection, she has daggers, stabs, and fist weapons. It's all she really needs. She's got hats, clothing, robes, and what are those? Put a ring on it? Ronnie, you gonna put a ring on it? Okay, right now, let's go. So let's go over her cool stuff. She's got laser beams, fairy healing, laser beams, 1.8 multiplier spirit scaling to all enemies, 9 hit skill. I don't know if this actually chains with air raid. I don't think it does. I think it actually has the same chaining data as like Chaos Wave, but it doesn't chain with Chaos Wave because the startup animation is a little different. Now she has fairy healing here, restore 100% HP to one ally. Awesome. You'll notice that she doesn't have magic, she only has skills, so it's fine, we'll get to it. Fairy healing, 100% HP to one ally. Enhance the spell, cure sleep, silence, poison, petrify, paralyze, disease, confusion, blind, and stop to all allies. This used to be single target, it is now all allies. Fantastic skill. He's got fairy light, heal 2,500 HP with an 18 times healing mod to all allies. This is the same modifier as Kiraja from like CG Fina and Ayaka, so that's awesome there as well. She has access to Kiraja. She has silence, which is Sealing Blade from Celeste, who everyone always wants to use. Same as Manufactured Anesthetic. Nullifies the next spell cast for one turn. Not always the most sought after sort of support, but for fights where something like this is relevant, it breaks the fight in half. Like the Brachiosaurus Chamber of the Indignant Trial, you could just basically make Brachiosaurus do no damage because it would cast like Meteor Ultima, and you could just silence it, or Manufactured Anesthetic at every turn. It would just absorb that spell. Now she got power up and guard, 150% or 100 attack or 150% defense bonus for 5 turns to one ally. If you don't have anything else to do, maybe you can pump someone's attack up by a little bit. If you already have a bard, maybe you'll get like an extra 50% attack, which is still nice to do. On your healer, 50% more attack on one of your units. Cool, that seems good. Reflection, insane skill right here. We have a reflection, increases your spirit by 80% for 5 turns to all allies. It's okay, we have better buffs, but it's still a thing. But the main thing is mitigate magic damage taken by 20% for 5 turns to all allies. This stacks with something like Hypernal or Nicole's Stance, Impregnable Stance. Anything that says reduces all damage taken by 30%. This will work with that because this is specifically magic damage. So you can get the 30% from Impregnable Stance or Hypernal or Spread Shield, anything like that, and use Reflection, and it lasts for 5 turns. So against some fight where your AoE magic tank is going to be taking some damage, you can start the fight out with this on turn 1, 20% less damage. Awesome. And it gives you spirit buff as well. So just in case you don't have like a bard that can buff your spirit right away, you can use this too. You'll get 2 birds, 1 stone. Now she's got Raised Dead, Raised Ally from KO, 100% HP. She's got full life. She's got Star Flare, 6.6 times multiplier with your spirit to all enemies. Look out, people in the arena. You can get blown away by this girl. Hasten Speech is the big one here. Use Rena's skills twice in 1 turn except for silence. So all of her skills up here, Any single one of these can be dual casted in any sort of mixed matched way you want, as long as you're not trying to cast silence. Okay, super awesome there. That's insane. This means you can like full heal your tank and then raise dead somebody. You can raise dead somebody and Kiraja your whole party. She can do a lot of different things that are awesome. You can helps you keep up your reflection buff right here while healing your party, which is insane. And if you have nothing else to do, you can boost your attack to someone or your defense to someone. So, and as this, the way this is worded, it's really strange because, you know, when she gets 7-star, she's gonna get more skills. So unless they go back and change this, or it's like use run as skills twice in one turn, except for silence, and the name of a new skill, and the name of another new skill, this should let her dual cast any of the new skills she gets from 7-star as well, assuming that she does get some new skills to cast. Now her traits here, pretty cool. 10% dodge, that's not bad. 30% spirit, 30% defense. This one's huge. Chance of ignoring fatal damage when your HP is above 30%. So if she would randomly just get hit by something really hard, she just won't die. Which is awesome on your healer, right? Just chance to not die, 100% chance to not die. 1 time per life on your healer, insane. Now she's got martial arts mastery here as well. Increase spirit by 50%, HP by 30% when equipped with a fist. Increase resistance to paralyzed by 100%. And then use wind the clock at the start of the battle. I don't think it actually has the description of what wind the clock does on the wiki, but I would have to assume that it makes her immune to stop. I could be wrong, but I think that's probably what that is. I could be wrong, that's what the name of it is. Wind the clock makes sense. So then we have healing light. Grants regen champion, which is the 1800 HP per turn at the start of battle. LB gauge 2 per turn and recover 5% MP per turn as a passive as well. And then the big change that she has, super awesome for you guys out there. Remember, this is a healer. She has Angel Feather. Okay, if you max it out, it removes attack, defense, magic, and spirit debuffs. Increases your attack, defense, magic, and spirit by 134% for 3 turns to all allies. Heals your HP by 3000 HP with a 15 times healing mod over 3 turns, as well as 120 flat MP with a 0.5 healing mod over 3 turns as well. So this is like a mix of Illusionist Nicole and CG Nicole with limit bursts. Very, very strong. Costs 20 LB crystals right there, ridiculous. So there's some cool builds already. She can wear daggers, go into item world, get some high tide daggers, get a high tide Bowie knife, and then put forget Knuckles of Hope, put a high tide Bowie knife on her, and then give her like Aigeon arm or something else. So she has 200% high tide, procs her weapon mastery passive for fists. She's gonna be spamming this for days. The only downside of this is it doesn't do any like on-demand healing. So if your party gets hit really hard and you need to heal them up, you have to depend on the HP regen, which it's pretty high. You can probably hit like 5k HP per turn with enough spirit on her. So she looks insane. She's definitely the best unit on the banner. Her only downside is she does not have access to any sort of re-raise whatsoever. So you have to find a way to put that on your party. Maybe like use a Yan or a Riku or someone else who can re-raise. Or just don't worry about it. Just don't die. Don't rely on re-raise anymore. If you're able to do that, then you don't need it. If you don't plan on dying, you don't really need re-raise then. So hopefully this helped you guys out. I think Rena is insane. Best unit on the banner. If you already have like a Yak or a CG Fiend or something like that, you don't need to get her. But if you're looking for an insanely good 5-star healer who will get a 7-star in the future and will become even better, heaven forbid they give her re-raise as a 7-star, she will have everything that you kind of need on a healer. Stop removal, magic damage mitigation, buffs out the wazoo, crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. So yes, if you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead and check out the playlist section for previous content, the 4 weapons for item world. If you haven't done those yet, today's your last day, so go check those ones out. If you want to see future content, hit the sub button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, wait, don't forget, we're streaming tonight, okay? Tonight, 7 p.m. EST, we're back, boys. We fixed the GPU. It is 100% working. Took way too long. So we're gonna go do all the trials and stuff tonight that we've missed. So come check that stuff out as well. And I'll see you guys after that. I'll see you guys in the next one.